It's working? I don't know if I have it working here. Okay, so I can see the chat. Okay, so anybody else around here on? Yeah, I can't go on Periscope. It's not running right now. So I changed something and it's all messed up. So it will only be on YouTube. So how do I spread the word here? Not only that, I started late. So is it running? Hello, Jamie. Hello. Okay, so yeah, so YouTube only here. So YouTube can't be ignored because it's only YouTube today. So I hope you guys are busy commenting because no Periscope comments. It'll just be you guys, whoever's on YouTube. So yeah, I can't get it running, and there's not enough time to figure it out. Not enough time to figure it out. Either that or I stopped the broadcast. So I said, might as well get some YouTube on, and then we can get productive here. Hold on, let me just change the microphone, and there you are. Okay, so I'm glad at least I got YouTube started because my restreaming server is not running. And I moved it, and I did not. I thought I verified it. It seemed to work, and now it's not working. I should have re-verified it, and I forgot. And so we have a little bit of an issue here with my restreaming. So I can't broadcast on multiple platforms. I can only. So I just chose one, and I chose. To broadcast on YouTube. Hello, Keith, Storm Brothers. Hello, guys. So how come I don't see it live on mine? Mine doesn't show live. So I'm trying to see the comments, and I can't. It won't come up. See, everything is a bug. Even YouTube has a problem. So I go to the channel, and it should show the live one on top, and yet I don't see anything. Really weird. Okay, so let's see. Nothing. So I can see your comments over here, but why is it's just been a bad, after alcoholic drinks, then you get this issue. It's very difficult to do everything simultaneously here. So yeah, here I am here on YouTube trying to see your comments, and I can see your comments on there. But a taste of the future, I can see your comments, but there it is. It finally showed up. Whew, that's pretty bad. Okay, so no Periscope. Yes, there is no Periscope because I can't get it running. So rather than stop the broadcast, we're going to go YouTube only here. Or either that or no broadcast. So that's the only choice. It's hello, Heidi. Hello, Starlight. Entire Meyer, Keith, Storm, and Jamie. Hello, guys. So hopefully we'll get the crowd in here in a moment. And we can get into to my interesting topic, and it's really disruptive here. I was I had a gig. I was playing music, and I didn't have much time. I I had dinner and I went home. I had a few minutes and I said, okay, it's all set to go. Turn it on, and I turned it on and it didn't start. It's like, suck. So hello, the AMG. Okay, so it's like zucked up. I mean, it's like such a bad way to start, but it's not really a bad thing. I mean, it's more important to get on YouTube. So here we are. So yeah. So the only people I'll be paying attention to are YouTube people. We don't have to worry about Periscope tonight. So hopefully people will realize that and maybe show up and check it up on YouTube to see what's up and why I'm only on YouTube today. So I'll be trying to figure it out tomorrow. Just the homies tonight. Yes. Yes, entire Meyer. So, oh my gosh, I like all this alcoholic drinking without Dr. Allcome. It's Friday night and I want to see open sucking zobs. Do you want me to get demonetized, Dr. Allcome? And yes. So, I don't know if you've seen my video. I have a new video out there. I have a new video, and it's titled 5G. And yes, I did a 5G broadcast. I did a 5G broadcast a week ago, and I didn't really, I talked about mostly about the technology, but I didn't really know about the research that was done, because the last time I checked was a few years back, and and I didn't really check the last 2 years, and in fact the studies that I checked were only peer reviewed in 2018, so it's only last year. So hello, I see the new video's great. Did watch, but not the whole thing. Suck, Heidi. Why would you not watch the whole thing? Need a Zantac? No, I don't need a Zantac. So, I did not. Why would you not watch my videos? I mean, do you not understand that YouTube doesn't look good on that? I said, look, people are not watching the whole video. It must be a bad video. That's what YouTube thinks. If you don't watch a full video, they said, it must be a sucking bad video. We are not going to recommend it. So believe it or not, you guys, the first batch that sees my videos, you control a lot of my successes here, because if you support the video, if you like it, and you converge on the video and put likes and comments and watch the whole thing, then YouTube says, oh, this is a good video for referring to other YouTube users. And if you don't do that, then they say, oh, this is a boring video. So, and I made a mistake on the last video. I made a video on RF spectrum, and one of the mistakes I made was to post it at 10 p.m. when everyone was asleep, 10 p.m. Pacific when everyone was asleep. So no one saw it, no one got the notifications, and then it basically didn't get any attention. And basically the video has the least views of any video I've ever made. So thank you, AMG. So that's my fault. So I realized that if I am late with making a video, what I should do is hold it and not publish it till the next day. Then you guys get the. I wasn't asleep and watched it. You weren't asleep. And Starlight, did you sell your BTC yet? I hope you did not yet sell your BTC. It's not yet time. Is that the one to watch then? Yes, it is. No, the one to watch is the new. Well, they're all. Anything you watch is good, but the new one on 5G is apparently my number one video right now. I get up at 4 a.m. Pacific time. Zuck, that's early. So I get the new video I just made is the number one video so far in the history of my making videos. So apparently 5G is kind of a hot topic, and which is good, because I don't really know what you guys are thinking about. I'm concerned about privacy, and I make videos based on what I have not done, and so I post them, and I didn't actually realize that I got to post what you guys want to see, regardless of what I want to post. I have to post what you want. So 5G is what you want, and I actually did some research on it. Infowars will only talk to KBRX talk. Really? That's not the real Infowars. That's just somebody who's a fan. I took a small hit, but will make it back. Make it back. Okay, so talking about the let me see here. I guess people on Periscope don't know we're broadcasting here. So, yeah. So instead of getting the thousands in Periscope here, they have no idea I'm broadcasting over here. So they'll have to figure it out. Maybe they'll show up later. Maybe they'll wonder what the heck happened to Rob. Maybe they'll say, there you go. Yeah, I was just saying, Tommy Buck. So yeah, I couldn't get the thing running, so I decided either I broadcast on one platform or don't broadcast at all. So I decided to just pick a platform to go direct, and I decided on broadcasting on YouTube. But I cannot do the multi-broadcast. The server that I use for doing that is not running right this moment. I don't know why. There's no time to figure it out because I only had 10 minutes and I came home, looked at it, and it wasn't running. I don't know why it wasn't running. It was running the last time I looked at it. It's a new server. I just set it up, and it's, I haven't used it for a regular broadcast. I used it for a test broadcast last week, Sunday, but I did not do a real broadcast until now. So I haven't done a real broadcast on this channel. And then it turns out it's not working. So, okay, I can't believe you didn't do this, but to strike at me. On Periscope, I cannot comment here, being the warrior you are for privacy. Did we lose you to chasing the buck? Oh my gosh, Kelp. Kelp has to write a long story. I will watch here, but no more comments. Periscope has a better comment section. Okay, Kelp. That's good that you don't comment. Okay, so if you don't want to comment, don't comment. Okay. I just explained for those who just showed up that my multi-streaming was not working. So I am not able to stream on multiple platforms today. So I will work on that. I will work on that tomorrow and then fix the problem. And then tomorrow we'll be back to normal. At the moment, I had to choose one platform to broadcast on. And so I chose YouTube. Okay. Does having a chat window open count for YouTube views? I don't know. Which chat window are we talking about? If you're watching my video, that's all that counts. But, hey, yo. So hit the like button if you would, please, people. So you show people that even though I haven't talked about anything yet, hit that like button at some point if you like what I'm going to talk about. Silence is golden. That's yes. Yes, Kelp. Listen to entire Meyer. Silence is golden. Okay. So, Kelp, you do not have to speak. It's not necessary. So, tonight we're going to talk about the fact that I zucking screwed up. Okay, cut. Starting again. Cut. This is the beginning of the broadcast. Okay. I screwed up last week. I did a broadcast on 5G. I didn't really do the research I did the research on the technology of 5G, but I didn't really research the medical research done on 5G. And, I see some YouTube videos saying, yeah, this, that. And, I studied medicine. I don't pay attention to that. I got to go look and see what are the peer-reviewed studies, and I do know how to read those. So I said, I want to see what peer reviews are showing on the studies, and I'm gonna tell you that if you're not knowledgeable about reading these sucking things, I mean, they're sucking, confusing people. If you're gonna read one of these things from Medline, you read the studies on something called Medline. So if you read the things on Medline, you're gonna look and say, what the zuck are they saying, and what are the conclusions? What does it mean? And I can see all these different websites and YouTubers and pundits making some claims that some of them are actually, not entirely accurate, and they're not interpreting it correctly. And it's like, they're making assumptions about what the study says that they didn't say. And with the peer reviews, there were some questions, and I'll tell you what some of the questions are, which I couldn't do in a brief video, but I can do here, to tell you that it was kind of screwy. It's not the easiest thing to understand. It wasn't consistent, but, and this is the important but, guys, obviously something was happening. And I think that's enough. Something was happening. Okay, what's happening? I can theorize, and we can theorize tonight. But something was happening. If something's happening, I'm going to say, why is something happening? Nobody's doing anything about it. Something is happening. Now, is that thing happening deadly, not deadly? Is it going to cause problems, not cause problems? I'm going to tell you what I know and why I know this and why, I have a little bit of knowledge in this. I don't claim to be some expert, but there's some connection with what I know that you need to understand so that you can see if I'm making any sense. First of all, some of the comments, guys, something wrong. Hey yo, yes. So some of the comments, some of the things on the studies on health relate to. Certainly you have to understand a little bit about medicine and how they do these studies in order to judge to see if you're supposed to believe it or not. So, I understand all the terminology and what they were doing in the studies. And they try not to make conclusions on there that's not justified by fact. So if they do an experiment, I'm going to tell you some of the real problems, that makes the experiment a little bit weird, because they made so many experiments. There were several studies. I can't remember how many. Were there 6 of them? And they were all done on the same thing, which was 2 years, and they subjected rats to 2 years of radiation. What they did was they said, we're going to radiate these rats for, 19 hours a day or something, and then, or 18 hours a day, I believe, and then do it 10 minutes on and off. So 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, all the way throughout the full 19 hours. So at least they let them sleep. There's, some chance to recover. So they gave them 5 hours where the rats weren't subjected to any radiation, and then they pumped them again with radiation for 18 hours, 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off. That wasn't in my short video, so I want to make sure you understand that, okay? Mouse pajamas. Okay, so 10 minutes off, 10 minutes off. Now, just so you understand, they took baby ducking rats. We're talking about from conception. They radiated these sucking rats from conception all the way to death with a 2-year lifespan. 2-year lifespan. I guess that's the lifespan of a mouse or a rat. So they actually radiated them for a total of 9 hours a day for 2 ducking years. That'll be like radiating you from 0 to 90, from the age of 0 to the age of 90, at about 300 watts of of 5G, of 3G. They use 3G a day. 300 watts. Just to give you an example, this thing here is quarter watt. 1/4. So this is one radiating right now because I'm broadcasting, right? So because I'm broadcasting, actually I'm only, I'm receiving Wi-Fi. So this is transmitting a quarter watt right now. I mean, that's probably why it's warm, right? So this is transmitting about a quarter watt. Well, actually it's Wi-Fi. I don't know. The Wi-Fi may be the same level. It's probably the same level. So let's just say it's transmitting a quarter watt of power of whatever the frequency is, which for Wi-Fi is 5 gigahertz. So this is transmitting back and forth here. There's a router over there in the distance, and I'm getting 5 gigahertz during the broadcast. So 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours of 5 gigahertz at a quarter watt close to me every time I broadcast. Okay, so that continues because I'm continuously doing it. Okay, so with the rats, they did it 9 hours a day at 300 to 400, from 100 to 60 watts to 400 watts, based on body weight. So if you can imagine, so this is a quarter watt. The rats were getting up to 400 watts, depending on which group they were in. The lower group got only 60 watts equivalent, and the bigger group would get, this is based on body weight, so I'm translating to a normal human. And the big sample were getting the equivalent of about 400 watts. Okay, so it's that's a sucking lot of wattage. Okay, in fact, that is not allowed. Now, that is not allowed based on FCC rules. Now, just so you understand, the second part of my knowledge doesn't just come from my knowledge of medicine. As some of you know, I did study medicine. But for some of you that don't know that don't know the other side of it, is that I'm studying for my general ham license, which is the next level ham license, and these questions this knowledge is part of the test. This is something I have to know. So part of it is that they have to measure the RF radiation, and radiation is not the right terminology here because you might connect that to radiation from like X-rays or atomic whatever. That's not the same kind of radiation. Anything radiates. Heat radiates, light radiates, everything radiates, but it's not the same thing. When I say that, it doesn't mean it's going to kill you kind of radiation. Your microwave radiates, your light bulb radiates. So anyway, we are constantly receiving Wi-Fi. Your FM radio is transmitting, even though you are not listening to the FM radio. Your body is listening to the FM radio. Your body's listening to the AM radio. Your body's listening to air traffic control. Your body's listening to Wi-Fi, every Wi-Fi in existence. Everything is happening around you. Yes, not the Chernobyl type radiation, which is, of course, the atomic kind of, or gamma rays. Officially, you refer to those as gamma rays, gamma ray radiation. That is not the kind of radiation we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that we're getting radiation in the electromagnetic frequency below visible light, because visible light is radiation as well, and we're getting that 24/7 in various ways. So we're getting that, and that's even for that the FCC has a limit. They limit the radiation to a certain amount per area of body, and for a certain amount of time, and they have to average it depending on the transmission time. And even at the max that they have, they do not come close to. It doesn't even come close to what were the rats were subjected to. So just imagine A typical ham radio operator already reaches the limit when they're doing 200 watts with just 30 minutes of transmission time, or actually, yeah, 30 minutes of transmission time would be already a problem. And they don't want that continuous kind of thing. They want it to break it up so that you don't get that kind of RF kind of exposure, because they know there are in fact effects of RF, and which I will talk about, because some of this is not, it's not unknown, some of it is known. So the FCC has set some guidelines on hello Simon, hello Donnie. The FCC has set up some guidelines even along the lines of RF radiation, even though there are no studies relating to the specific radiation we're talking about. So the FCC doesn't care if the radiation is related to 5G, 4G, 3G, ham radio, 3 meters, 2 meters, 6 meters, 60 meters, 180 meters. They don't really care. They're just saying they set a limit on the amount of RF radiation that we're going to get. And the limit is, on an average, in a day will be quite low and nowhere near what the rats were subjected to. The rats were subjected to, as I said, 60 watts continuous for 9 hours at the low end, and at the high end about 400 watts for 9 hours. If I compressed them continuously, because they actually broke it up in every 10-minute slot. So 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off. So if you compressed it all together, it was a total exposure of 9 total hours of those wattages a day. That's a lot, and from birth to death. So for a human being, it's like equivalent to saying, I'm gonna go subject you to RF, this particular RF radiation, from the time you're before you're born to the time you die. So we're talking 80, 90 years of radiation equivalent. That's what they were testing. Okay? Now, it's important to understand that yes, that in fact is quite a bit more than we're going to ever be exposed to. But it's good to know if there are effects to that, so we can then make some assumptions about what effects it might have on human beings. Unfortunately, the study was very unclear. Now, I'm going to tell you some facts about the study that there's no doubt about. Yes, and only on the group that got radiation, there was cancer. So that is not a doubt, okay? The rats in the RF radiation group were the only ones that got cancer. And just to give you, there's a lot of groups here and multiple studies, I think six or seven, I can't remember right now, but multiple studies. And each group had like 90 rats per group. This is hundreds and hundreds per study. So per study, they were dealing with, close to 400 rats per study. So the whole study, if you consider it, involved thousands of rats. Thousands. FCC and FDA, they all get paid by big... There's Henry. Hello, Henry. Okay, so anyway, this is the weird thing about the study that is just not clear. Yeah, so clearly the only rats that got cancer were the ones who were radiated. There were only 2 types of cancers that were found in this whole group. And the 2 types of cancers are called gliomas and schwannomas. Now, I'll explain that in a second here. Okay, gliomas are brain cells or spine cells. So they have to do with the nervous system. So with the nervous system, brain and spine, they didn't specify where they found or I didn't actually read, where they specifically found the gliomas, whether it was in the brain or in the spine. I wasn't clear, but nerve cells, of course, transmit signals, electric signals, to the rest of your body. That's how it works. It sends electrical signals to your muscles, and that's how it triggers you to move. So now that's very interesting. The other kind of cancer it found was on the sheath of the nerves of the heart. This is called schwannoma. Now, what this schwannoma is that a tumor a tumor appeared in the nerve sheath. So where the nerves are around the heart, that turned into a tumor. Now, if you didn't know this, the nerves of the heart are the ones that trigger the electric impulse. They trigger the beating. It's from those nerves that you get the constant beating of the heart. That's where they get the timing. So the schwannomas are very interesting in that, again, the RF seems to be impacting on something electrical. Okay, so that makes sense. So schwannomas being the electrical part of the heart, and then the gliomas related to nerve conduction, which is also electrical. So that was kind of interesting. So obviously the RF had something to do with that, right? Okay. I don't know about the money yet. That's not evident from this. But let's just understand what I'm saying here. So based on what we know here, there are in fact cancers generated from the RF frequencies. Now, this is the weird part. This is why the study is not as black and white as it looks. The problem is the schwannomas and gliomas did not occur on any female rats. So the female rats did not get, I think one of the cancers did not appear in the rats, the female rats. So I forget which one, but one of them did not appear in the female rat. So that was kind of weird. The actual percentage of rats, remember there were thousands of rats here, the actual percentage of rats that got cancers were around 1 to 6%, depending on the study. 1 to 6% in the study. Now, what is strange here, and this is where it's really we are really getting confused, is that it turns out that some of the cancers did not occur in the highest radiation. It occurred in the lowest. So it's weird because there's some in the highest, less in the medium, and some in the lowest. So then you start to wonder, that's kind of inconsistent, because if you're trying to prove that radiation RF, lots of RF is going to cause cancer, then why would it appear when you do less of it? So that's not clear. That's not clear at all. Okay? And aside from the fact that it did not appear in the females. And then here's the other part that's not clear. The rats that were in the highest group, the highest radiation, they fucking lost weight. So according to the study, the weight of the most radiated rats were less, significantly less, than the weight of the rats in the lower levels of radiation, including the ones with no radiation. Well, that's weird, because somebody will say, RF frequency, good for weight sucking loss. If you're fat, maybe put the sucking phone in your body, because you're fat, so you can lose weight with RF radiation. So they were like, that's interesting. So bring in the 5G then. So you don't need 5G. The test was on 3. This is the part that I want to make clear. The test was done on 3G, not 5G. They don't have 5G yet. They did the test on 3G. So your current phones are fine. Put the phone in your body and get the radiation and then lose weight. So if some of you are losing weight, maybe you're using too much RF. Maybe you're putting the Wi-Fi. It is pretty crazy. Oh my gosh, it is. This is crazy. Okay, and here's the other crazy part, Starlight. It's crazier than that. This is why this is not entirely clear. Okay, this is the other crazy part. There's no doubt about it. Imagine how fat I'd be if I've never used 3G. Yes, Simon, you'd be like double fat if you didn't use 3G. So here's the other part that's kind of crazy. The ones that got radiated lived longer on average than the ones who had no radiation. So if you're a caveman and you said, I don't want any RF, I'm going to go hide in the cave and be a caveman, no tech for me, you die sooner than the guy who has radiation. You see why the study is kind of weird? Because the study is like saying that for the bulk of the population, the RF was actually made you live longer, A. B, made you lose weight. And for some of you, it will give cancer, but only for a small number. So you start to say, I wonder, maybe I should stay with a group that does RF because I might live longer. Maybe I'll be in that 1% that gets the cancer. Maybe I'm not. So if you are not the one that gets the cancer, you get to live longer. It's really weird. Also heard that 5G is also going to collect well, that's a different story. Maybe we should all go back to dial-up. So any variance in number of legs, any variance in number of legs. Actually, and I don't know what legs you're talking about, but I actually will talk about that. And this is really weird. So knowing that it's weird, I'm not going to go tell you, 5G is safe because, 5G is safe. So since some of you lost weight and they lived longer with RF, then you should all start using more RF and maybe good for you. What is interesting is that they actually found out that many of the ones that got cancers and things were not necessarily the ones that got highest radiation. Hello, Claire Peters. They weren't. So the radiation level is not necessarily, even some radiation may be deadly here. So for some. And the other thing that's interesting is that the losing weight category only happened in the upper ranges of Wi-Fi radiation. So only those receiving a lot of radiation 24/7, well, it's actually 9 hours total a day, only those rats lost weight. So they didn't lose weight at the medium levels or the low levels of radiation, if you call 60 watts low a day. I mean, we're not even near that. We're nowhere. I mean, this is a quarter watt, and unless you're transmitting 24/7, are you transmitting on this 9 hours a day and next to your body? This is a quarter watt. Those rats were getting 60 watts. If this were a 60 watt device and they had it on their body 9 hours a day, that's equivalent. It's like saying they were on a 60 watt phone instead of a quarter watt and talking in a phone for 9 hours. If that's you, then you'll be equivalent to the low level. Now, if your phone is equivalent, there's no such phone, but what if there was? This was 400 watts, and you're putting it to your ear at 400 watts. There's no such phone, okay? They don't have that kind of power in a phone. So I don't think there's no portable device with that kind of power. So you don't have to worry about that. She was sleeping with the phone in her hand and next to her ear. Sleeping with the phone doesn't mean there's continuous signal, but yes, that is something to worry about. There's something to worry about. The point is that the effects of the cancer were found at the lower levels of radiation, not just at the highest, although the weight loss was only at the highest. And yes, most of the cancers were at the highest, but not necessarily. Some of the results were weird because the one in the middle group did not necessarily get a lot of cancers. So it's kind of inconsistent. Why would it? You should see it in kind of a linear fashion. The lowest level get the least cancers all the way up to the highest level. But it wasn't like that. It was more like, first group cancer, next group no cancer, third group lots of cancer. It was kind of inconsistent. And that's why you ought to think about this in a little bit different way. So, in conclusion, if you really think about what I'm saying here, it's saying that you actually don't know what's happening here. There are some effects to RF. There are effects because it causes cancer. The question is, at what level you're going to get it. And we're talking 3G. They only tested 3G, the kind of stuff you're exposed to now. This stuff is talking in 3G, 4G frequencies, the one they tested. This is transmitting at 850 megahertz to 1.9 gigahertz, which is exactly the range we're talking about here. Wi-Fi is even higher at 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. I'm doing 5 gigahertz right now, so this is on 5 gigahertz. So I'm getting 5 gigahertz from this right now. Okay, and they're talking about the gigahertz level, which is the millimeter waves, as the ones that are a problem. And yet here we are talking about 5G, which will be in the 28 gigahertz range. 28 gigahertz. So how is that they are installing these boxes? I'll tell you how they're going to actually install the boxes. The point is, I don't know. I mean, yes, clearly those that did not get RF did not get any cancers. Those that got RF got some cancers. Yes, it's not very frequent, but they got some. And that's enough to say why and wonder about it, and then maybe I can kind of speculate on the reasons because of my understanding of medicine, and I'll share with you my understanding of how that may be impacting, because it's actually part of it is part of the test for the next level ham license. So I already have a technician license, and I'm working towards a general license on my ham radio. And part of the test of ham radio is actually talking about this. So, it is something that I already know because it's part of the test. So it's like taking a college course. So anyway, I'm going to worry. I mean, although the results are not, I wouldn't say the results are convincing or consistent, but they certainly reveal that there's a cause and effect. So RF cancer, okay, maybe. The maybe is because it's not consistent with the level of RF. Okay, because if it's a clear correlation, then low levels of RF, less cancer, more levels of RF, more cancer. That was not the case. Lower level got cancer, middle level no cancer or less cancer, higher level more cancer. So it was like a V-shaped, which is not consistent to this linear kind of shape here. So it's a little consistent there, but the point is something is happening, something we don't understand. Maybe it's the actual frequency that we need to worry about, and you got your ham. No, I'm working on my second. I'm getting working on my general ham license. It's a second level. So yes, I have a technician license, and I'm working on getting a general license, and it's a little bit more complex. Okay, Troll Not, what happened? What happened, Troll Not? What is your question, Troll Not? What are you worried about, Troll Not? Are you saying why am I not broadcasting on other platforms? Is that the question? I just want to know what the question is, and then I can respond to you. Anyway, I while I'm waiting for Troll Not to answer that, so I hope you understand that, from a medical point of view, I'm saying, hey, we don't exactly know, what causes the cancer here. Yes, it's low. Yes, it's rare. Yes, the frequency range, the amount of it is not consistent, meaning some got it while having lower levels versus higher levels. So the inconsistency here is enough to tell us that we don't know the answer, but it would be dumb of us to say, oh, I'm going to wait for the government to tell me what the real answer is. In the meantime, I'm going to assume there's no issue. Kelp is right here, Simon. He doesn't want to speak because he's loyal to Periscope. He's loyal to Periscope. He said he's not going to speak on YouTube because he's loyal to Periscope. Okay. So, based on this, I'm going to say, Zakia be Zaking concerned. Do we need to be over concerned? Well, we can take certain precautions, and we'll talk about what those precautions might be. Yes, we should be concerned, but it's not clear exactly what the issue is, because here's some of the concerns that we have. The problem is now with 5G. The test was done with 3G, which is the same frequency as your current phone. We are not talking 5G yet. The test, all the studies were done on your current technology. If that doesn't worry you, I don't know what. How many years have been using these things? How many years have you been using them? How much have you been using them? Are you making phone calls with this on the side of your head? How many are you sleeping with this on the side of your head? Karen, hello. Periscope was way ahead of its time and run by Karen. Zoc Scope is not loyal to any of us. Had to fail? No, that's not the reason I'm not on Scope tonight. I would be on Scope if I could. I just can't be on Scope for technical reasons, and I had to choose a platform to broadcast on, and I said, okay, it's best to be on YouTube, because for the long run, this is where I'm always going to be. Had to fail. For the long run, I'm going to be on YouTube. So it's more important to establish this platform. So, as you know, of my problems, well, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so if I'm going to be making a comment on this, I'm going to say, yeah, we should worry. Now, exactly how much should we worry? I don't know. I would be taking some precautions, since there's a lot we don't know. And just so you understand what we're dealing with here, the study focused on 900 megahertz. 900 megahertz. Your Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz, much higher, and 5 gigahertz, much higher than the study for the rats. So your phone, when it's transmitting on cell phone, it's at 900 megahertz. Then when you're going to Wi-Fi, like you're using Periscope, then you're on either 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. So here's the question. Does it get worse as you go to the higher frequencies? That's a question that we don't have an answer to, right? this zucking, so okay, listen again. Does raising the frequency have an effect? This has a more of an effect than less of an effect. Now, fortunately, apparently there must be some studies that relate to this, because the FCC actually gave us some guidance on this. I mean, I'm like, this is just so fortuitous, but that I study this. This is actually part of the license exam for ham radio. It's actually part of the exam. It's like, oh, great for my broadcast. The fact that I studied this made sense, and I started to understand. Okay, so the FCC actually figured out, and I don't know how they figured it out because it's not explained in the lesson when you're studying for your license, but they figured out that the reaction to RF frequency has to do with resonance. Okay, let me explain that to you in a clear way. If you put out, I don't have an antenna here. Where's my Yagi antenna? I guess I put that away and now I don't have that around me. But let's say you have an antenna. Okay, let me, I used to have a pencil here I can use. It. Even the pencil I was using as an antenna is gone. Okay, so let's say this is an antenna. Okay, let's say this is an antenna. Okay, so every frequency has a certain wavelength. Okay, every frequency has a wavelength, and depending on the length of the conductor, then it is resonant, meaning it is friendly to that frequency, and it accepts it and does not reject it. So depending on the length of your antenna, you will accept or reject. Now this is, I happen to pull a short piece of cable, so this is a very short piece. This will likely be an antenna that would be in the gigahertz range. Like, this would be good for cell phone, this short antenna. Like if you're doing air traffic control, you need this long of an antenna. If you're doing, some other things on lower frequencies, on spectrum, on ham radio, you would need this longer of an antenna. If you're doing VHF, you will need like this size. So it depends on the size of the antenna, and that has to do with resonance. Okay, so as radio waves encounter some sort of conductive substance, it says, oh yeah, I'm resonant to that, and then that conductive substance absorbs it. So I don't know how they figured this out, but they figured out that the human body responds to a range around, surprisingly enough, in the VHF range to low microwave, exactly in the range of cell signals and Wi-Fi. And I was like, Zuck, if they knew that the body, your body, responds to RF radiation resonant to the range between cell signals and Wi-Fi, why the Zuck are they using those frequencies? And they also said this, and this is something that's in the test. So I know this because this is part of the ham test, that as you go into the higher frequencies in the gigahertz range, which is what they're going to use for 5G, your body is less resonant to those frequencies. So this little cable is too long for that because they're millimeter waves. They need, a wavelength that's a much shorter. So this is too long. So the gigahertz range is supposedly not friendly to our body. Our body kind of just ignores it and rejects it. We are not resonant to that. If this is true, now this is very interesting, because if this is true, then the RF resonance is exactly where we are in 3G, not in 5G. The resonance is in 3G. So we are actually perhaps absorb data. again, I don't see the actual data. It was a conclusion made that I saw in the stuff I read. So when I'm gonna take the test, it's actually one of the things you have to respond to. Is like, where is the resonance of the body? And according to what I'm supposed to respond in the test, I'm supposed to say, oh yeah, the resonance is in that range where cell signal is, and there's less resonance at the higher levels. So fortunately, the study that they did on rats were actually in the same exact range that deals with the rats. So here's the question: will we get worse radiation with 5G than with 3G? And if we're going to believe the FCC, we're going to get less. We're actually getting more right now. Do I believe that? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to believe that. Yes. Hello, Kathy. Yes, I don't know if I'm going to believe that. The astronaut flew through the radiation belts and were fine. They were, come on. I mean, they're in a capsule lined with lead, I'm sure. So that's not the same thing. So the point is that we are in this hazy area, because if I'm going to believe this, and I don't know if I should or not, that the 3G is actually, in theory, deadlier, and the current Wi-Fi is deadlier than even 5G will be. Well, there's not enough, nobody studied the 5G, so, I have no idea, what kind of medical studies were done on that. Maybe that's just an assumption based on some scientific assumption of resonance of frequencies, and I don't know if that's necessarily studied. So therefore, what I'm going to say is, hey guys, pause for a moment and think about it. Pause and say, is it smart to sleep with the zucking phone in your head, transmitting Wi-Fi? So you know how you use Apple Music or Spotify, which is using Wi-Fi? Do you want to go to bed with this thing in your head, transmitting Spotify, meaning doing Wi-Fi at 1/4 watt, all zucking night, just like the rats? I don't know. I mean, come on, keep it away from you. I mean, use a zucking headphone with a cable. Is it necessary to put this next to your zucking ear? I mean, some of this is common sense. So is it necessary? If you can avoid it, yeah, avoid it. What about the Wi-Fi? Do you have your routers, let's say that your favorite chair in your house, Starlight Karaoke's favorite sofa in his house in Astoria, New York. Okay, Starlight is in this building in Astoria, New York. Okay, and did you put your Wi-Fi on the table next to you as you're working the internet and watching YouTube videos? Why don't you rethink that? Because this thing is 1/4 watt. The Wi-Fi router is 1 watt. So do you really want to be certain you want to be close to that? I mean, we don't know the answer here. So why is it necessary to put risk where we don't know what's up? So if it's 1 watt, let's move it a little bit away. Don't put it next to your head. So what's the 1 watt one? So every Wi-Fi router is going to be 1 watt. 1/4 watt phones transmit between 1/4 watt to up to, they may transmit up to 2 watts if you're very, very far. So, but that's not Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi will never get at that level. Wi-Fi will never get at that level. We're talking about cell phone. So this sucker here has two transmitters. It has a Wi-Fi transmitter receiver and a cell transmitter receiver and a Bluetooth transmitter receiver, which is low signal, low level. So we can ignore the Bluetooth because that's really short range. So if you have this device and it's transmitting at multiple transmitters, and each transmitting about a quarter watt, I don't know. I mean, put a little distance here. Even this kind of distance is probably good enough, And I'll tell you a little bit about the effects of RF. Now, RF is not that unknown. I mean, we're dealing with RF in a lot of things in medicine. Okay, so RF is, if you're not familiar with RF, it's used in medicine. I encounter RF a lot in medicine, in MRIs, and in, they call them TEMS. I forget what TEMS stand for, TEMS. But when I used to have clients that do orthopedics or pain management, they would use a device that they would pump a lot of radio frequency to it to treat places where you have pain. So it's for pain management. And if you actually understand what's actually going on, what they're doing is they're pumping a lot of I don't know what frequency, I got to go research. But what they were doing is they put a device that obviously have some sort of radio transmitter on it, and it's transmitting a radio wave very, very close to your body. They actually put the device right on your body, and it's transmitting at some frequency that transfers the electrical forces to your deep tissues. And the effect of this is basically to heat up your tissue. So if you don't understand what a radio frequency electromagnetic radiation is, electromagnetic wave, of which visible light, infrared light, all that is part of this, including your FM radio, AM radio, it's actually electric signal at one angle, and then a magnetic here. So it's electric, magnetic. They're kind of a cross shape there, okay? Electromagnetic. So I don't think the magnetic part is the issue. The part that is of issue in your body is the electric. So if your body's resident to it, then the electric energy is transferred to a conductor. The conductor is water. So it's conducted in your body because your body's full of water, right? So in theory, it will conduct in your body using something called inductance. That's a term that is used in electrical wiring and all that, electronics. Inductance is when electrical energy transfers over to another conductor if it's nearby. And so electrical energy, like coils in a transformer or any coils that are near you, it transmits that energy over to the other conductor. And the conductor in this case is water in your body. So in theory, the effect of RF is obvious. It's going to be heat. This is exactly how your microwave works. So this is not actually a big secret. I mean, you put stuff in a microwave, and if it's some tissue of some sort, like meat, then where it's has water, then the water heats up, and it heats up from the inside where the water is. That's how the microwave works, as you all know, except for Tinkerballs, who doesn't use a microwave. But for those of you who use a microwave, you understand that you don't put metal stuff like spoons and forks in the microwave because they're going to get extremely hot. And you understand that it kind of heats up from within based on water content. Microwave uses a magnetron. Doug, that's no. Come on. A microwave generates microwave energy. How it generates that is immaterial. It generates. There's a radio transmitter in the microwave, and it transmits at 1,000 watts or so. Okay, no bread. No, bread works, but can get soggy. You put bread in there, if you don't eat it fast, and get soggy because the water will evaporate and will dry up the bread eventually and turn into hard bread. So but you understand. I mean, it makes sense. Okay, so RF energy hits the water. It absorbs the energy from the RF energy from the inductance part of it, and then that generates electrical power, and the electrical power usually translates into heat since it has nowhere to go. So it just stays there, and so it dissipates as heat, kind of like a resistor. So it dissipates as heat inside your body. That's the usual. I mean, that's my understanding of it electrically. Okay, so electrically speaking, if you pump some sort of RF energy into your body, like what they use for treatment of in pain management, then it will cause some conductive part of your body with the most liquid to react, and it will heat up. Now, what they actually found, it's kind of interesting. They found that two parts of your body react a lot to RF. Now, I don't know how they got this information and what studies it came from, but it's part of the ham test. So I'm just going to tell you what it says. It says that the two parts of the body that react to RF are your arms and legs, A, and B, your brain. Arms and legs and brain. I don't know why. I guess it's all the extremities. I don't know why. It's not explained. Kind of like you don't ship garbage past customs or ship when. What? How makes sense? What the fuck are you talking about, Karen? Smart electric meters on houses, transmitting watts to what's inside. Smart electric meters. I can't imagine that would be. Yeah, that would be transmit. Yeah, I believe they're kind of like, aren't they like, they're probably like Wi-Fi transmitters. I would imagine that a smart electric transmitter would be similar to a Wi-Fi router. I don't know what frequency they use though, but probably similar to Wi-Fi router. I mean, I really, I need to check up on what frequencies these are. I can actually check it. I mean, I have a spectrum analyzer. I can actually find out what the signal is. But it's just so you understand, they read the electrical meter from the street, so they can be far away. So I'm gonna guess it's kind of like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi strength maybe, or maybe it's a lower megahertz. I don't really know. I don't know what wattage it is. Not sure. No, bouncing off the clouds, starlight, is a effect only on the lower radiation bands. The higher megahertz, the higher hertz frequencies do not bounce off the sky. So no, for example, VHF, UHF, millimeter waves do not bounce off the sky. They get absorbed. They go out and past the atmosphere. This is part of my test, so trust me, I know this. If I'm going to pass this test, I need to know that. Okay, only low frequencies bounce. And I believe we're talking about 6 meter band and below. We're talking about 28 megahertz and below. I don't think that's we're talking in the close. We're talking about a gigahertz and above. So I don't think so. My dad also has his pilot license and always wanted to be up to date with things like this. Yeah, I'm. It's kind of fun that I took my ham license. I have a ham license and I'm taking the general license, and look at the amount of time spent in the Van Allen belts. in the radiation exposure, and you will see that outside the capsule is still minuscule, but score yourself one for getting me to comment. Yes, Rob 1, Kelp 0. Okay, whatever that means, Kelp. I don't even get it. I don't even get it. Okay. I believe has a ham radio. Yeah, I believe Tiffany has a ham radio license. Yes. Yes. So kind of like so anyway, what about sunspots affect the middle frequency waves? The more sunspots, the better it is for transmitting in the VHF to high HF. So like 28 megahertz all the way to a little bit higher than that, 50 megahertz. It's good for sunspots. Then all the stuff below it, like 10 megahertz and 5 megahertz and all that, 1 megahertz, that's the opposite. So they work in opposite directions. So again, that's part of the test. I know that. Somebody will say, you're wrong. It's 27.5 megahertz. Well, I have no idea. But in general, I'm correct. Okay, in general, I'm correct that sunspots affect certain range. It's good for some ranges, not others. But the frequencies we're talking about that are affecting our body, that does not get reflected back. That goes up the atmosphere, gets reflected out, and gets absorbed or goes past what is called the D layer of the atmosphere. Now, sunspots, Kathy, sunspots. Now, this is something that's kind of interesting for you. Don't understand this. Starlight 1, Kelp 0, Rob 0. Simon's rescoring that. Simon's rescoring. I look at the lunar module. It looks like it was put together with tinfoil and plastic. Okay, so anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is, the FCC claims to understand certain effects of radiation on us, put some limits on it, on certain ranges that we're using now, have not really, commented much on the upper ranges. The last thing I read on it said that, and this is old because, the document that I'm reading here is based on test examination questions for 2015, so this could be 4 years old. And based on that, they were saying that the higher frequencies, our body is less resonant. So that we kind of ignore the higher frequencies more than we do the lower frequencies. So is that true or not? I have no sucking idea, okay? Because I don't know what the basis is of the comment of how they got the resonance to begin with. I don't know how they got that, because what is clear, that the part that they did not get here, this is the part they didn't get because this is new information, that somewhere in your heart, your nerve cells must be resonant to 3G. Somewhere in your brain, something is resonant to 3G. That's why the cancers, well, not in your brain, but in the rat's brain. So somewhere in the rat's heart and rat's brain, there is some body part that is resonant to the frequency for 3G. So how the zuck do we know what body part is resonant to what zucking frequency unless we zucking test it? We don't know. We don't know. Okay, so let's accept it. We don't know. So if we don't know, don't be careful. Be careful. Now, somebody said, on some of these, conspiracy theory sites that we're going to die because, we've been using the phone more. But actually, we've been using the phone less over here. If you look at the common millennial, we were using the phone more when we were using flip phones. We were putting it in our heads. Now that the phone is down here, where normally, if you look at typical millennial, it's toot, 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 toot. Let me do Instagram, Facebook, Zuckbook, texting. Do you want to call in? The phone rings. You don't answer the phone. No one answers the phone. Very few people answer the phone. We like texting. We don't want to answer, which is probably healthy. Probably good for us. So, now, Kathy, that's a fucking good question. That's a fucking good question, Kathy. So, is there anything resonant down here? Does it have any effect on sexual organs when laptop is there and RF frequency from the Wi-Fi is generating heat? I don't know. You tell me, Kathy. You tell me. Bluetooth is very low emission. And Bluetooth is receive only unless you transmit a voice. So if you're just using headphones, it should be receive only. So that should be no effect from this. Okay? So again, just understanding radios. If you put a Bluetooth headphone, it's a receiver. It's like a radio receiver, not a transmitter. This is a transmitter. This is transmitting the Bluetooth. That's receiving the Bluetooth. So I think you're okay. Curly wants to broadcast using Brax Multicast and willing to promote you. Carly. The Restream is not working today, as you can see. So Bluetooth wavelength is minimal. That's not a correct terminology, Doug. I'm sorry. Hello, Lavelle Logan. That's not correct terminology, Doug, since as a as somebody with a ham license, I'm going to tell you that's not what a wavelength is. However, what you're referring to is the signal strength. So the strength of the signal is lower is lower for Bluetooth, and that is correct because it's made for short range. So if this is transmitting to Wi-Fi at a quarter watt, a Bluetooth is very low energy, so probably background noise. We probably don't need to worry about it, but Bluetooth in your ear is receive only, so that's not an issue. Lavelle, you haven't been here on YouTube or you haven't been here on Periscope. So anyway, so answering the question on laptops, it is a question I have because the laptop does have Wi-Fi and it's constantly transmitting. So it is a concern because what part of your body is receiving this. But remember, most of the effect of RF is heat. So if you're getting hot, you ought to wonder, are you getting hot from the heat of the laptop or you're getting hot from the RF in the laptop? Should we wrap the bottom of the laptop with, tin foil? Something to think about. Maybe I should sell a device, a tinfoil kind of cradle for your laptop so you're not getting RF. I mean, seriously, it's something to think about. So, what does that mean, the issue if receive only? The power comes from the transmitter. That's where the RF energy comes from. Is from the transmitter, not from the receiver. The receiver is just listening to the waves that are already in the air, meaning it's already capturing what's already around you. So whether or not you have the headphone, you are receiving the signal. For example, Kathy, just to give you an example, are you listening to FM radio right now, Kathy? Are you listening to FM radio right this moment? I'm going to guess your answer is no, because you're watching YouTube. Okay? So you are currently not watching or listening to AM radio? Are you watching UHF TV? You're going to say, no, I'm not watching UHF TV because I'm on the phone doing Periscope. Well, UHF and FM are constantly transmitting, so you are getting the frequencies now from those channels. They're approaching your body. They're everywhere in your house. They're on your body. They're everywhere around you, just like, air traffic control and marine radio and ham radio and all the kind of frequencies around you. Visible light, which is, I'm getting visible light here. That's frequencies too. Your body is getting all of that. Okay, so that's the receiving end. So yes, as a receiver, you're just receiving what's out there. The transmitter is the issue. Note, Kathy, it doesn't matter whether you're watching TV or not. The TV has its own receiver. I'm talking about your body. The RF frequency is being sent by satellite, by UHF, by VHF. All of these devices are sending their frequencies now to all of you. All of you are receiving the frequencies. Okay? Now, whether or not you want to listen to it requires some device, but you are getting the frequencies. So whether you like it or not, FM radio is crossing your body right now. You're getting FM radio, whether you like it or not. Okay? That's at 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So you're getting that right now. You're going to say, well, I don't like that. Well, too bad. You're getting it. Okay, you can't stop it. So we are getting bombarded by frequencies from the low end all the way to the high end, all the way to visible light. Hopefully no UV at night, because UV comes from the sun. And hopefully no gamma rays, because there's no source of gamma rays for most of us, unless you have an atomic weapon. So normally we are getting signals only in the lower ranges, and we get it all day. So you don't even need the regular rat, the one that was not radiated with 3G. It's being radiated by everything else. So that the standard rat is getting radiated by normal RF and apparently didn't get cancer. So there you go. The regular rat with no 3G did not get cancer. My piano did not emit any waves. It doesn't matter. You're getting the waves now. What about the high-powered electric lines that cost many in town in Long Island to get cancer? I want to know how much stronger 5G is compared. Yes, electrical lines will cause some sort of RF radiation. Now, exactly what frequency, I don't know. Somebody has to put a spectrum analyzer and see what the frequency is of electric wires. But yes, the study says that in the limited range of the study, which is 900 megahertz, that some things happen. So, yeah, things happen. Now, this is, I know what you, so let me just explain what I think is happening, which is maybe not obvious. We are not getting what is called ionizing radiation. Radiation is the wrong word, because when we think of radiation, and I want you to understand this because this is also part of my ham test for a general license. Radiation up in the atmosphere, way above in the troposphere or ionosphere, the way that works is when there's sunlight, the sunlight is constantly emitting UV radiation, ultraviolet. You know about ultraviolet, you know about it when you get a sunburn, okay? So some of the ultraviolet crosses into the to Earth and we get a sunburn, okay? That's some of the UV comes from that. Some of it does not. It stays up there. Now, what is the effect? This is a known effect because this is proven already, that in the upper atmosphere, UV radiation is so strong that the electron splits from the oxygen atoms, for example. Okay? So it splits from the oxygen atom. So instead of, so there are free electrons up in space. So instead of just the oxygen atoms, there's some free electron because it strips off an electron from the oxygen. So there's a little bit of it's called ionization, because up in the ionosphere, that's where the term comes from, they're ions because they basically take the charge from the oxygen atom and strip it out, and it's hanging out there by itself, and it has a charge. That is what is reflecting the radio waves. So this is a known piece of data scientifically. We know that up there, there's the ultraviolet light. It only happens in daytime. Hits the atmosphere, splits off some of the electrons, and causes the electrons to separate and causes ions to be up in the air, and that is reflective of radio waves. Okay, so if you understand that UV can do that, standard radio frequency, including visible light, have no ability to split an electron. That's an easily proven fact. So you can't do that. So down here on Earth, regular stuff that we do on the lower RF frequencies, below UV, does not have the capability to split an electron. So what is the effect of RF on us? As I said, I think the effect on us is mostly that it transfers electrical energy to your body. Electric energy doesn't pull the electron out. It transfers electric energy to your body. And common sense, what happens when you get electrical energy on your body? Well, have you tried touching a live electric coil at 120 volts? Have you ever tried that? Have any of you tried that? Well, I have many times. I have. Maybe that's why I am kelp. Maybe that's why it changed me. When I was around 6 years of age, I was experimenting with a screwdriver. I was 6. I took a electric clock and decided to open it up with a screwdriver so I can see how it works. So I opened up an electric clock, still zucking plugged into the wall at age 6. Okay, so I, opened it up, saw that, and then, what is this and what is that? And I touched the two wires of 120 volts, and it went through my heart. It almost killed me, and it burned my hands. And I never told anybody that. People, my mother saw burns in my hands and didn't understand why, and never explained. I said, I scratched it. But I almost died. It was because of an electric shock. So, yes, that's what happened. So, electric shocks will obviously impact you in a lot of ways. One of them is your heart beats from electric energy. It gets this beat is from an electrical pulse in a certain cell in your heart. This is, when this cell stops working, they replace it with a pacemaker. So that gets affected by electric signals. So that's conducted through various nerves around the heart, so that conducts electrical energy so that your heart contracts as that electrical pulse happens. And the rest of your muscles in your body, your arms, everything that moves in your extremities are also sent a signal based on, from your brain, it sends electrical signals to contract a muscle. So all these muscle contractions, relax. When I'm playing the piano, I'm using my little fingers. all of these contractions and whatever coming from my brain into electrical impulses that go in here. So it's electrical. So never did that again. Actually, did, Kathy. I did that many times. I got a little smarter. I started to lose fear of electricity. Uh, anyway, to summarize what I've said, I'm going to answer that. But to summarize what I mean is that what I've determined is that, that electrical energy obviously has some impact. It can burn you, is one. It can affect parts of your body that react. So electrical energy can cause you to, spasm and do stuff like that. And as well as excess energy needs to be released. And the only way it's released in any electrical component is as heat. So either it disrupts the signal or it generates heat, and it could burn parts. So if you have RF of excessive amounts and a body part is resonant to it, then in theory, then it should burn or heat up that part. So I'm wondering, why are the rats losing weight? Maybe because they got heated up. So if you want some weight loss, maybe pump some, put the iPhone and the computer next to the fattiest part of your body and keep it transmitting at night. Maybe it'll burn off the fat because this will generate frequencies that can cause heat. I don't know. You want to experiment with that? Tell us in a few years. So, yes, in answer to your question, well, it generates heat, right? So maybe your metabolism goes up because the heat is generated. Does it raise metabolism? Why did the rats at the higher frequencies lose weight? You'd start to ask questions like that. I mean, you can have theories. I mean, you can't necessarily prove it, but you can have some theories. And knowing how electrical energy works, you say, if it generates heat, what happens if you raise your body temperature, which is kind of like raising metabolism? Does that consume more calories? I don't know. That's something to think about. In any case, yes, I repeated it many times. Past of the age of 6, I started to have no fear of electrical components, and I became the house fixer. At the age of 10, I was fixing, stuff in the house. Anytime there's any kind of power issue, I would solve it. I would fix a television set. I would fix radios. No big deal, like replace vacuum tubes. It's not like I understood what I was doing, but I said, it's not working. Maybe one of the vacuum tubes is, we're talking back in the old days here. One of the vacuum tubes is done, so you just take it off from some other one and put it in and say, it works. Okay, it's that one. So I understood that. Heat melts fat. No, I don't. Not that the heat melts fat, but your metabolic rate may your metabolic rate may be increased, and your cells may react by using up more energy, and then or maybe it excites the cells and makes more energy, with translation to heat. Who knows? I mean, this stuff is all theory because nobody really knows how. We don't have the ability to watch a cell 24/7 and see what's going on. So I don't know. I'm theorizing here, just knowing my biology here. That maybe it raises the metabolic rate, and maybe when you get cancer, maybe it increases it too much. Then it encourages some things like resonant body parts, like the nerve cells of your heart and the brain, and that causes cancer. I don't know. You have to assume that may be the case. So these are just common sense. You got to think about it. Common sense. So given this, since we don't really know what the zuck is up here, Uh, I wouldn't be so cavalier about, I'm starting to get, a little bit of sense of fear of, having these devices too close to me in transmission. If it's not doing anything, if it's not active, it's not doing anything. So where you're concerned about is when it's transmitting. So if you're sending data to your Wi-Fi, okay, that's transmitting. If you're not typing anything or not doing anything or not looking at websites or not watching a video, can you imagine watching Netflix? Okay, think about this. This is a very high level of transmission. Live streaming. Because you're transmitting to the Wi-Fi router or to the cell tower from your phone on live stream. You're the transmitter. So live streaming is more RF heavy for you than watching a video. So if you're watching a video, okay, that's probably not too bad. It's when you send data. So I would think anytime you send lots of data from where you are, like uploading a file, uploading a video, doing live streaming, maybe all live stream people will be dead. Maybe all of us doing live streaming are actually killing ourselves, and in the future there will be nobody doing live stream. We'll all die of cancer. So maybe we'll have a new world in the future where 5G affects only the live streamers and everybody else is okay. And those people who are on the phone all day, like Starlight Karaoke's daughter. Okay? All day on the phone. Millennials don't like to talk on the phone, so they like to text. So maybe their hands will have the RF. Maybe they'll have finger cancer. Haven't seen that yet, but maybe they can't test that on rats because rats can't type. But maybe they get finger cancer or finger RF burns. I don't know. It's something that, something to think about. So anyway, conclusion. It is something to worry about. I would be worried about it. Is it known exactly what's going on? No, we don't exactly know. Has 5G affected anyone in China? Don't they have 5G in China? The problem, Xander, is that everyone claims they have 5G, but do they really have 5G? Or some sort of updated 4G? It doesn't even matter because 5G, 4G is already part of the study. 3G. So 3G has already shown to have an effect. We don't really know about 5G, but 3G has a known effect. So women should have a higher number of cancer causes than men. No, Tommy Buck, if you're a rat and you're a lady rat, you're not going to get one of the cancers. I forget which one. One of them did not occur in the lady rats. Lady rats. Okay, girl rats. Okay, so if I'm going to read this right, it says that somehow the female rats have some sort of resistance to RF, that they don't get bothered by RF. Okay, so there you go. So maybe it requires some body part to be resonant, and that body part does not exist in the female rats, so they're not getting it. So the boy rats are getting it. Some of them. So if you're going to believe the experiment, the experiment is really strange. It's not that consistent. I'm referring to humans. Now, we don't know, Tommy Buck. No, we have not tested. The only scientific study is done on the proper study has been done on rats. So at least on rats we know something. So how it translates to humans, I don't really know. Okay, because remember the rats were subjected to much higher levels of radiation than we get. So we would be lower than much lower than the lower rat population. So in theory, we might get nothing. So I don't know. It's just not it's enough to ask the question though and say, if they have this kind of data, then they should at least pause and say, maybe there's some things to do, and there's some easy things for you to do, guys. Hello, initials. There's some things to do. I mean, maybe put some sort of separation between you and these transmission devices. They don't cross metal, so foil does not let radio frequencies cross. So even something as simple as foil is enough to block all this. So I don't know. I mean, how far do you want to go? Do you want to block RF in your house? I don't think that's low level. The highest level of radiation is going to come from your Wi-Fi. If I'm looking at my house, the highest level of radiation in my house is coming from Wi-Fi. It's not even coming from the cell tower. My Wi-Fi is a lot stronger. So if that's the case, then I'm going to worry about my Wi-Fi and anytime a device, a computer or a phone is transmitting. Not receiving, transmitting. You don't have to worry about the receive side. It's a transmission side that you got to worry about. Okay? So again, repeat, if you're sending a file, that's transmission. If you're uploading a file, that's transmission. If you're doing a live stream, that's extended transmission. If you're doing, by the way, I'm not transmitting on this. The transmission is being done by a computer down here. Okay, so if anything is emitting it for transmission, it's really this computer down here, which is over here. That computer is doing the transmission. This is only receiving. So I'm not doing anything on here except watch the screen. So if I'm only watching the screen, that's receiving. If you're on Periscope watching the screen, that's receiving. That is not transmitting. So most of us don't do much transmission except for live streamers. Most of you do receiving. So set up a no signal room for several times a day. I don't know how far you want to go. I would say your distance to the transmitting device, it's geometric or logarithmic. So actually, if you just don't get too close to it, even separation by several feet should multiply the signal loss multiple times. So in terms of what is called dB in decibels. So, if you're, this is the things that I would think about, is your Wi-Fi router next to your head? There's an actual example here where, they've done a study where they put your phone next to your head. This is not transmitting, it's receiving. They put the phone next to your head like that. And then after a few minutes, they actually do an infrared scan of your head before and after. And of course, it's very hot after you've used the phone. So the radio frequency goes in there and starts to heat up your head, your brain, whatever's in there. It's going to get heated up. Interior tissue is going to be heated up by radio waves. So I don't know, since at least from the rat study, the cells that seem to react more to RF is the heart cells and the brain cells. Probably less, muscles and all that, less of that. That doesn't seem to be in the affective regions. So I'm gonna say, be careful about transmitting in your head, meaning on a phone signal. If you're uploading a file, don't put it up here. If you're doing if you're doing a broadcast, like live stream, maybe you need a selfie stick. Selfie stick. Can't believe I'm actually going to recommend a selfie stick. Okay, maybe you need a selfie stick. No, put it to. I mean, we're not going to be transmitting for hours a day, but if you're for those of us, doing live stream, we're going to be doing a lot. It's not for video. We're talking live stream. Video doesn't have that. Okay, if we're making a video, it doesn't have any effect. But if I'm doing live stream, then I am causing myself cancer. Maybe. Okay? Live stream. So Rob's getting paranoid. So, I'm not getting paranoid. I'm just saying, you want weight loss? Yeah, do it. Seems to help weight loss. You need to lose weight, Tommy Buck. Maybe give yourself lots of RF. The Chinese apparently began their 3G trials in 2016, started researching 2013, expected to be fully implemented by 2025. Yes, I saw that, but the problem is, what is 5G? Forward calls to retro BlackBerry. Initials okay. You're getting smart here. Yeah, if you forward your call to voicemail, you'll be in receive only. That's smart. And then you text back, so only the brief text will be the transmission. When you text, then only that very, very brief moment is the point of transmission. So don't transmit on your lap. So anyway, the problem is if do the Chinese have the two elements that I described as elements of 5G, millimeter waves, 1, 2, beamforming. So a lot of, for example, AT&T says, we got 5G. We call it 5G evolution. Well, that's what they call LTE. Okay? The E in LTE is evolution. So, what the Zucker you're talking about? So a lot of them, what they do is they put beamforming on 3G, and then they say on 4G, and they do beamforming on LTE and say, hey, you're on 5G, but you're not. 5G means millimeter waves plus beamforming. And I don't know if we're there yet. Text more, talk less. Use Braxme, type on the computer so you don't have to put the sucker on your head. Okay? Use Braxme more. There's the answer. Upload less. Come on, guys. We're not receiving anywhere near any kind of dangerous levels. So let's not overdo this. But just examine your Wi-Fi. I'm more worried about if you're not, most of us don't really talk on the phone as much. Maybe some of you do, but I don't. So for those of you who don't talk on the phone too much, just worry about your Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is already in the 5G range. So 5 gigahertz. So where do you have it? If you have it, next to you, maybe it should be next to you. Move it a few feet away. Obviously, not too far away. It's not going to work. But, maybe a few feet away. If you could move it 10 feet away, that might be better for you. Okay? So instead of being, my problem is I use the Raspberry Pi router, and often it's right next to me. Now, that's a weak transmitter. But still, I'm starting to think, why do I have it right next to me? Maybe I should cover it with foil because it's right next to me. So I got to think about that. So, I'm selling these Tor routers, and, often because they're handy and they're small, I kind of put them right next to me, and instead of a few feet away. It's probably best to push it off a few feet away. Not that far. Just, a Raspberry Pi is much less signal than your Linksys and your Apple Extreme and your Apple Airport. But, maybe not next to your head. Not next to your head. So anyway, uh, I hope we learn a little bit from this, and it's educational. I mean, it's not exactly clear. And I told you, someone again, for those of you who didn't hear the initial description of the studies, let me just summarize the results for you so you can see how weird it is. Yes, some cancers showed up on the RF radiated rats. However, the cancers didn't show up in a organized way that relates to the amount of RF. So you would expect the lower RF rats to get less cancers and the higher RF rats to get more cancers. But what happened was some rats in the middle range did not get any cancer. So it wasn't consistent. Second, the number of rats that got cancers after that excessive dose was actually low. It was like 1 to 6%, depending on the study. So it was low. Okay, so meaning the results were not clear. Third, the females did not get one of the cancers. So yes, so you will get some sort of cancer if you have a possibility. The risk increases. According to this test, in the 1 to 6% range of the population, based on the dose that they were doing for rats, and so it is something to worry about. Now, the other side effects that I'm going to tell you again to summarize what I said earlier, the other side effects that were very strange was that the most irradiated rats, the one that got the most RF, lost weight. So was actually a positive. They got more RF, they lost weight. The ones with less RF didn't lose weight. Okay? The highest one got the weight loss, not the medium ones. This was very consistent. So only the highest level rats lost weight. Only the highest level. That one was actually clear. Okay? Router is in less used room. Good. Okay, now in the final stretch here of the weirdness of the test results, I told you that 1 to 6% got cancer, right? But in general, the RF radiated rats lived longer. So this is weird. So, yeah, some of you will die from cancer, but most of you will live longer with RF. You see how unclear this is? So it's like, I don't know. Should I get RF then so I can live longer? Or maybe get cancer, one of the two? Or should I just stay in the range where I'm not affected? I'll die sooner, but I won't get cancer. That's a tough one. Okay. That's a tough one. We don't know the answer. So I would say if we don't know the answer, let's just stay back. Okay. Let it sort itself out later on for somebody else. I don't want my friends here to get cancer. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if they live longer. Let's just pull back until we know more. And don't get cancer. I got lucky and wouldn't wish this on anyone. There you go, Starlight. Okay, so good night, Heidi. So you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. What does that Lakers. Why are you going to be angry? Thank you, Entire Meyer. I didn't get a lot of extra viewers, though. We just got the usual people on. I don't mind doing YouTube only, and it doesn't. Periscope doesn't really contribute to me, but uh, I'm. I wish we can get a lot more people to transfer over from Periscope, and that would be more fun. So that's all. Sorry to change the subject, but can we sell your VPN there? Where's there? Where is there? Uh, in mainland China? I don't know. They probably banned VPNs in China. They somebody reported to me that Saudi Arabia bans VPN websites. I don't know if they can actually ban the use of actual VPNs, but they banned the VPN websites. So any website that has a VPN on it doesn't show up. So if you go to Saudi Arabia and type bytesvpn.com, it doesn't show up. So it's like automated. Put software in there. When they see the site has the word VPN in there or something, it does not run. So I don't know, Starlight. That's not if you're in China, you should be using some sort of Tor, not a VPN. You wouldn't want to use you wouldn't want to use a VPN in China. After you break their laws, you break their laws. You can lose your head and Saudi free using VPN. Not my head. I am not inducting Saudi Arabia, but you never know. The prince might send his goons and try to murder me in my house here in the U.S. So, they did it in Turkey. They could say, well, we want to eliminate that guy because he's selling VPNs in Saudi Arabia. So let's go visit him and chop him up and make him disappear in chopped up little pieces. Zuck. So Chinese firewall does some pretty sophisticated VPN detection. Yeah, but you can beat it, especially with Tor. I'm watching Netflix through VPN router. Initials okay. Yeah. If Netflix starts off, complaining about the VPN, as soon as they accept it, turn on the VPN again. I mean, it's only a few seconds. So if they want to expose who you are for a few seconds, just don't do anything else. Expose yourself. Turn it off until they accept. Then you can run the VPN. So during the bulk of the movie, you will be on a VPN. So in case they block it. Sometimes they block West. It depends on the IP address, and it's kind of guesswork to know what Netflix is going to block. I lived in Saudi and used a VPN for business regularly. Have lost my hair, but not my head yet. Maybe it's in the water, Simon. Maybe it's in the water. They said, this guy is using a VPN. Let's make him lose his hair. Let's make him lose his hair. Let's put some chemical in there and contaminate him, and so he will lose his hair. And that's the price of using a VPN. Simon, you didn't know that. Well, you're always welcome in my house news. I promise you will eat great food. Must be pasta. So, as someone who knows about this, is there any info you can give me on this topic? Any way around their strict rules? It's against the law, Starlight. So, against their law for their citizens. So, let's say a Chinese citizen, does uses some products that are illegal in their country, then they go to jail or whatever they do. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you that you can trick the Chinese firewall with Tor. You need a specially configured Tor, however, not the basic one I have. You need to have a bridge. So you can trick that using a spoofer bridge, and you can spoof it into thinking you're doing Skype or something basic like that. So yes, there's a way to do Tor, but not a VPN. They can probably spot that. Man boobs are worst price to pay for using a VPN. You think I'm going to put that loose here and have men need to rest? Okay, Kathy. Many VPNs that work outside China are way slow when used inside China because the Great Firewall can detect and throttle open VPN connections. Broadband internet speed without VPN, 11 megabits per second in China. Let's see. You know who was actually in China was Mike Tends to Travel. We should ask him because he was in China. We have to talk about the need to know about multi. Well, I'm not promoting the multi-broadcast anymore, Starlight. So I offered that for a short while, and there were no significant takers, so I'm not going to go pay for that. So I shut it down. So the the multi-broadcast restreaming server is currently just for me. I'm not paying for the bandwidth for people to use something that is not used, and I'm gonna pay for it. Okay, so I'm not multi-streaming is not open to anyone else now. The program is over. I use restreaming, and at the moment, I got to make money from it. If I'm not going to make money from it, it's a waste of effort. So, it was not a profitable venture to get into, and I don't want to pay it for. I mean, it was costly. I spent the money to set it up, and people can go for it. So I'm going to use it for myself in a small version, and that's it. Not going to go pay to support other people doing it for free when I got to pay for it. There's alternatives out there that they can use, but it doesn't pay for me to use it. And Snarky is not using my restream server, even though she does Brax. She's using the other one, the typical restream product. That's what she's using. So I offered mine, and it's not enough people using it, so I said, I don't want to pay for it. So don't want to worry about it. So anyway, it's not worth it for me. It's costly to have a server. Okay. So it obviously wasn't a good business model, or it would have worked already. It's not a good business model. So I'm gonna set it aside. I'll have to rethink it. If we can figure out how to sell your Tor router in China, you're always reaching, Starlight. Why do I need to sell a Tor router in China when there are people here who need it? So, guys, for those of you who don't understand what Starlight is talking about, if you are not on a Bytes VPN, if you're still on VPNs like PIA, you're being zucked right now. If you want to stay zucked, go stay on PIA. I was big on PIA, and until they were zucking me, they were blocking my email. I was constantly getting CAPTCHA codes to an excessive level, and subjected to being recognized as a VPN 100% of the time. That's because they're so big them and NordVPN and all these guys are so big that the big companies, Google and so on, already know they're all VPNs, and then they attack them. They already recognize them, and they take precautions saying, well, you're a VPN, so we're going to go treat you like bad guys. So Bytes VPN is not recognized as one of those. We don't block anything. We don't log anything. Extremely high performance because there are very few people on each server. So you actually get all the best of all those worlds. Plus, it is the only VPN with Tor routing option. So if you want to get PIA, Nord, IPVanish, one of those, you don't get a Tor option. I'm the only one that offers a Tor option for the same sucking price as they offer. In other words, if you go to my VPN, you get my VPN plus Tor. When you go to them, they give you, for the same price, they give you a VPN only with all the blocking. So come on. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So if you want a VPN that makes sense and offers you more, then I'm the only one that offers the more. Okay? Let's focus right here on the good old and besides, my VPNs are in the USA. So can't be broken into by the National Zucking Agency without a zucking warrant. So if you have NordVPN, they can break into it all day because they don't need a warrant to break into their servers in some other country. There's no law that stops them. So they're going to break into the VPN, and trust me, they can do it. But they won't do it in the US. So that's why I keep my servers in the US. So yes. So Donnie, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Donnie. You don't have to worry about that. And you need your VPN. Donnie, you need a VPN for that. I don't think you realize what an influence AMG PI doesn't offer Tor routing. Bytes VPN does. Yes, AMG is correct. I am the only one. Look at all the big players. None of them offer Tor routing. None. Maybe some minor little players in there. No one offers Tor routing. So this is the deal, guys. So mine is superior. Plus the fact that I give you personal service. It's not like you're going to worry about tech support. I'm here. You talk to me all day, and never mind Donnie, not important. That's somebody else. So anyway, hey guys, thank you for watching, and then we'll hit a different topic. Just so you understand where I'm kind of setting myself up for. I have this device. It's a transceiver. I'm really going to be experimenting. I'm going to be experimenting with frequencies for hacking and all that, and so my first test, I'm going to see if I can do it, soon, is to see if I can jam. My first thing is jamming. See if I can jam some signals. So that'll be my first experiment. So I'm going to make a device, maybe make a video and say, can I jam your cell signals? This is kind of important because this is, in order to do a, what do you call this? Stingray? To attack your phones, to, be a man in the middle on your phones. The first step is to jam. So, oh, come on, Donnie Murdoch. Okay, so you're actually going to say, yeah, Proton VP, come on. Okay, so I'm going to experiment with things, starting with jam, make my own cell tower. I have all those capabilities. It's a lot of work to do this, so it'll take me a while, but I'm going to make videos on that just to show you what I talked about with Stingray, because, this is very close to our heart here, and if we know all the flaws of these zucking devices here, it's going to be interesting. So I don't know. Maybe you'll be interested. Maybe not. But wouldn't you like to know how they can hack this? Be a man in the middle on this. If you're interested on that, type 1. If not, then I'll set it aside and work on something else. If you're interested in me doing a cell tower project, jamming, and other things related to the phone part, type a 1. If not, then type 2. You say, I don't care, type 2. Type 1 if you're interested in what I'm talking about. Because I want to make sure that I do what people want, not what I think. So again, Zingray. Okay, you should have typed a 1, Simon. Type a 1 if you're interested in what I'm talking about. Emulating a Stingray, making a cell tower station, because that's really what Stingray is. It's a Stingray is an emulated cell tower. So I can do that. And then the jamming is part of that. So you jam. You basically jam the signal, and then your device starts searching for the nearest station, and then the station that it uses, the Salt Lakers Red 3, the station that it uses is your Zucking Stingray. And I want to show you how that works. So maybe not the whole thing, but just in pieces. Then you understand the zucking risk, How do you detect that your phone is being zucked? Do you want to know if your phone is being zucked by some... Where's Kelp? Kelp will say, oh, that's a good thing. Zucking your phone is excellent. So... you have to make an exception for Carol telling you she and her for her message on internet safety. Please redo what? What am I supposed to redo? Reconsider what? Mother Zucker. Reconsider what? I mean, you want me to pay for a server? I mean, it doesn't pay. I don't have money. I mean, you need to buy more things from me to afford this. Can I afford this extra cost of a server that nobody uses? Show off my Second Amendment? You mean this Second Amendment? Is that what you're talking about? Salt Lakers? This Zucking amendment? What amendment are you referring to? I want to make sure. Is there any ammo in there? I can check. Convert, upgrade Brax Wi-Fi router to Stingray. I'll write you personally to let you know the cost. Well, there's a cost to me. Unfortunately, it's not free. So anyway, doesn't that look pretty real to you? I mean, anybody can see this? Does that not look real? Here, look at the label. You can actually disassemble this gun. Does that look pretty real to you? It's pretty heavy. You shouldn't do that to a real gun, by the way. You do not slam it like that. That'll damage the pin. So do not do that. What's the pin look like? Yeah, you do not. On a real one, you don't do that. But since this is not real, then I can do that because here. So we'll see if this works. That still works. I would shoot you if that was pulled on me. Pin. There's no pin. How does a compressed air have a pin? It's compressed air. Where's the pin in compressed air? Well, not you personally, but get more friends and family in onto the products. Yes, my income is completely based currently on Bytes VPN, the Tor router, and Brax. So that's all I got to live on because I have to spend 100%. Mike Smith, don't worry, I got that covered. I got that covered, Mike. I got that covered. Do you have any doubt, Mike, that I got that covered? Uh, what type did you want? What type did you want, Mike? Did you want a long gun or a pistol? I'm sure I got that covered. I'm sure the ammo is covered too. I got at least a couple of rounds. This is California, so you got to be careful here. Got to be careful here. California. So in California, I have a couple of rounds. Cap compressed air pin. Yep. They don't allow ARs here anymore, Mike. At least today they didn't allow it. They allowed it last year. So last year, half of California bought an AR. Because said we're gonna go disallow ARs after this date. So okay, then everyone in the country in the state bought an AR, and so that there are more ARs now than ever. Okay, more ARs than ever, because anytime they put in some sort of ban, then people who don't have any zucking use for an AR got one. They said, "Oh, they're gonna ban this. I better get one because they're gonna ban it." So, yeah, are you serious? Oh yes, this is Zucking, California. Salt Lakers and assault weapons. Yeah. So actually, the ban is that you're supposed to declare it as an assault weapon unless you modify your AR. So there's things you can modify. You can change the pistol grip and change the magazine. So you have to open it up to change the magazine. There's some little tricks you can do, and then it's not an assault weapon anymore since you have to open up the action to put a mag in. So if you want to go be an actual terrorist, it's not going to work for that because it's basically going to be a anyway. Get a what is that? What is that model? Uh, Goodness, what is that? I think it's in a Ruger um, that fires uh, 5.56 ammo. That's not an AR, a rifle. What is that rifle that fires in a 5.56? Why am I? Why is it skipping my head here? Come on, you guys know that. It's there's two. I think was it Ruger makes it or who makes it? Um, and it's either fires 5.56 or 7. See, I forget my ammo things now. The AK-47 ammo. Not a Winchester, no. So it's legal if bought before law change. Yes, you have to modify it though. And if you buy the other kind, the one that looks like a normal rifle and it uses 5.56, that's fine too. They just don't look it. They just don't like it looking like an AR. So if you take your normal AR, change the pistol grip, make it look like a normal rifle, they're fine with that. They're fine with that. Okay. No, that's a pistol. Come on, AMG. We're talking about a long gun, a rifle. There's a rifle that fires 5.56, and I'm drawing a blank here. I'm drawing a blank, but a rifle that fires 5.56. It looks like a normal hunting rifle, but it fires the same exact round as an AR. and uh, it's not sawed off. Uh, okay, so you bought a machine gun before 1985? No, not machine guns. No. Uh, but if you, let's say you said, oh, I can't buy an AR because it's banned in California with this configuration. Don't worry. Get a ducking rifle using the same ammo with same normal magazines, limited to 10 in California, but still same reloadable magazine, and it works just fine. And so it's a stupid law because, like, what are you really banning? Is banning a specific model because it looks cool? It's like, what are you banning? Because it looks tactical. So basically, they said if your gun looks tactical, it's banned. But if it looks like a normal hunting rifle, then it's not banned, even though it does the same thing. It's like stupid politicians. Stupid politicians. It's like, do you understand how guns work? What's the fucking difference? You pull the trigger, it fires the same ammo. It has the same effect. Zuck. Are you going to vote on June 5th? What is on June 5th, Donnie? What is supposed to be voted on? I always vote, but I don't know what's supposed to be voted on June 5th. Flamethrowers are legal, by the way. Oh, are you sure? In California? You can make your own flamethrower, right? So, yeah. So, yeah. So, but for it's a primary election. Who are you going to vote for in the primary election? Flamethrowers are legal. I know some family members who own fully automatic weapons. They are cops. They go do fully automatic for hunting. You have, yes, flamethrowers are legit. Okay. Don't need that. Don't need that. But anyway, this, I may have one of these in real life. This is obviously a toy, but I do have, there's a possibility I have a real 1911. Only a possibility. Not going to promise you I have one, but maybe. Just trees. Okay. Just maybe I have a real 1911. Maybe. Or whatever weapons I happen to have. You don't really know what I have. So you can sell a flamethrower without fuel. Can't you put gasoline in there? What fuel do you need? Can you power with gasoline? Flamethrower. What are you going to use that for? Somebody robbing your house. Yes, I'm going to do a My dad has a 1911. Only dads have 1911? Donnie, you decided that you're not going to have a 1911 because you're not your dad? Only dads get a 1911? I mean, I love 1911s. My dad got a Mad Max. I don't know about you guys, but if you do any kind of target shooting, 1911 is it's really easy. It's I love the weight because it's not plastic like a Glock. It's metal, and it's really accurate because of the trigger. So if you don't know what a 1911 is, the trigger. What do I know? This is just a toy. But if you have a real one of these, maybe the trigger is very, very sensitive. So, you really, and this toy is like the real deal because if you basically have no shake at all. Yep. No, I don't have any weapon, but I support the Second Amendment. Elon Musk flamethrower under the boring company. Donnie, Thank you for your support. Are you a California supporter? Are you in California? Because that only matters if you're in California. So yeah, if you're not in California, it doesn't have any effect. So we need supporters in California. So anyway, so I have like a lot of projects, in the planning stages here on what to do with my new equipment that I got and kind of getting into. You're in Indianapolis, okay? Out of the gate, nothing stronger as far as kickback than the 45 Magnum, aka Dirty Harry's pistol. Strongest rifle was a 444. The 1911 is the state gun of Utah. Thrower BB gun. Um, yeah. So anyway, uh, I may have a lot of experience firing, you know, 1911s. Uh, uh, so I may have had some combat training. May that. Yes, Donnie, I'm in backlog because I got to learn how to use it. But yes, I may have had some combat training. Doesn't mean I'm an expert, but at least I know this. I could if I shoot you with a pistol at 25 feet, I will have a high probability of hitting your nose. If I wanted to shoot your nose, okay, very high probability. I'm not an expert. My shots are not like an expert can probably shoot, in a narrow range like that, and mine will be more like that at 21 feet. Well, it's good enough. I can I can hit some bad guys. I mean, I'm not. I don't do this for a living. I'm not like in law enforcement, but I can probably, if that fits in your face, I could probably hit that. Somewhere around that. So, yeah, I think I've showed you my theoretical targets that I've shot to show you on Brax. If you want to see, then it's like around there. So watch the nose, buddy. No more than for us. What the fuck is that? No more. Is that a nose? What? I don't even know what that emoji is. Suck. I hate emojis. Can't even tell what the emoji is. Don't even know what the emoji is I'm looking at. Anyway, well, I'm sure to change topics tomorrow. We'll talk about so many things. There's so many things going on. So a lot of censorship out there and stuff. Again, I was like, when is this going to end? Gosh. Our old friend George on Brax from Scotland was the real deal as far as being a marksman. Oh yeah, he said he could shoot with a rifle standing up, and he could shoot you at what did he say? How many like far? Like I don't know, 300 yards or something, standing up. I was like, suck, couldn't do that. The dialogue is the icing on the cake. Talk about the car you're thinking of buying. Me? Well, I already have the cars, but one of my cars is very old, and one of my cars is very old, and I need to replace it with some cheap car, cheap, not like some fancy. I don't have any money right now to get any expensive car, and I already have 3 cars, so I just need to replace it, and maybe I am looking at a electric Prius as a possibility for that, kind of like a nice backup car to commute. Uh, the yes, thank you. Initials okay. Are you a car guy? What is a car guy? Do I use a car? Yes. Do I sell cars? No. Well, unless it's my car I'm selling. No. Smart car. I can't afford a Tesla. Can't afford a Tesla. That's the only email. Smart. The i3. What is the i3? Salt Lakers. What is the i3? What is that? Is that a specific model? Technology brother? No, I don't know what an i3 is. What is an i3? Is that who builds that? Is that something I should look at? I don't want to spend a lot of money. That's the thing, you know. I don't want to spend too much money. But, you know, should I buy a used one or just some less expensive new one? The Tesla Model 3 is 40 some grand. Join the internet privacy grassroots. Thank you, Tesla. Yeah, 40 some grand, pre 1993 vehicle. The BMW i3 with a supplemental engine. I don't know if they sell a BMW. How come I've never seen a BMW i3? I used to have a 7 Series BMW, and I decided that I was never gonna buy a BMW again. That sucking. No, I had a 7 Series BMW. I had a 2000. What year was that? 2005, maybe. I think I had a 2005 7 Series BMW, and that thing was like so sucking expensive. It's small. The i3 is small. Well, 7 Series BMW is not small, and it's super fast, but zuck. That thing was always broken, and it's like every time you sneeze, it's like $2,000. That thing's broken. Oh, $2,000. Oh, this is broken. Oh, $2,000. It's like, zuck you. So I said enough. So all of my cars currently are all Mercedes Benzes. All of them, from the new ones to the old one. The oldest is a very old 1990 Mercedes, but that's the one that's going to die. Go take a test drive to do what YouTube. You want me to be a YouTube test driver for cars? Suck. I don't think anybody will watch me for that. I don't think anyone will watch me with that. Yeah, you got to be kind of specialized in that. That's not my deal. So, maybe hacking a car, that makes more sense. Go test drive to do what YouTube. Sorry, English is my 7 language, not your 76 language. So, okay, test drive. Yeah, so if anybody recommends one, right now I'm considering a Prius. I hated a Prius. I hated the look of a Prius. Their new ones are a little bit better looking. And I said, they're kind of inexpensive. And, I don't know if you know what the price, here in California, the price of gas is close to $5. So I don't know what it is where you are, but where we are, it's close to $5. So zucked up here, zucked up. So at this price, I don't drive much, but I'm here at home doing videos. Tesla tracks you. Yes. That I can imagine, Lavelle, Logan. I can imagine. So still, I like it because someday I want to tell it, here, drive my kid to the school and bring the car back. Would be nice to be able to do that. The 2000 MI55 is the most badass AMG dog car. What the zuck is an ML? I misread that. ML55. 2001? It's pretty old, Salt Lakers. 2001? AMG? Who's going to fix an AMG? That's going to cost you, arm and a leg. So Starlight, yeah, the problem is that I'm not on Periscope, but I guess it doesn't matter. That doesn't really impact me. So fuel about 255 here. Yeah, yeah, this is California. Most of that is tax, so California takes half of it. Thanks for always making for me always making work for me fly by. There you go, Starlight. Okay, guys. So I got to do some research on how to use that Blade RF transceiver that I got. So to see if I can learn how to ducking jam in a legal environment. I do have a license and use it only in a test environment with no leakage with a dummy load. In case the FCC is listening to me, I got that covered. So I want to test that in a safe environment so I can show you what they can sucking do to you. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Watch my 5G video so YouTube pays attention to it. Thanks, my friends. Good night.